I am going to be taking these plasticky green, cheap artificial leaves, and I'm going to be turning them into high-end decor looking willow branches. So what I'm going to do to begin my project is I'm actually just going to take a pair of scissors and I'm going to begin trimming down the leaves. So I just start at the very top tip of the leaf and I cut in, working it down. When I started doing it with the leaves on the branches, but I found that it was harder to cut this way. I actually began pulling the leaves off the branches and then I can put them back on when I'm done. So I took them off and then I continued trimming them down. Once I had all the leaves cut down, I am going to bring in some paint. So I'm going to be taking Country Chic paint, which is an all-in-one decor paint in the shade Sage Advice, and I'm going to be painting the leaves. So I'm just gonna be stenciling it on, doing like a blotting technique over the front to give it that realistic rustic leaf vibe. I want to make sure that I also paint the back side of the leaf as well because it has that very stark green. Once I have them all done, painted and dried, all I have to do is pop them back on the branches. Once done, I found a nice deco vase and I placed my leaves inside the vase, and this is the finished look. I love the elegant, classy look of this greenery and how it just toned down that bright, stark, plasticky green and made these more realistic looking. I'm happy that I saved myself a ton of money because the branches that I originally wanted to buy were $19 a branch. This is the before so you can see the difference, and then this is the after look. To begin my project, I took this $4 plastic planter pot and I took it outside and I spray painted it with this Almond Color Master spray paint and let that dry, and then I followed it up with this Rust-Oleum Accent Stone spray paint, and then I'm left with this nice textured pot. Next, I took some gravel that I just picked up from outside and I placed it in the bottom of my pot. I want to add a bit of heaviness to the bottom of my pot so it's nice and stable for my tree. Then I took a piece of dry floral foam and I placed it in the bottom of my bucket. I cut another brick in half just to shove down the sides here so that it would stay in place better. This floral foam is going to help my tree stay in place and also as well heightened it a bit so I don't have to shove my tree all the way down to the bottom of my pot. Next, I gathered this large branch from outside. You want to find a branch that has lots of twigs and sticks on it. Then I took these artificial cherry blossom flowers and I used my hot glue gun to glue them onto the twigs. I tried to replicate a real cherry blossom tree as best I could by finding images online. Before placing all my cherry blossom blooms on the branch, I decided to stick the branch into my floral foam and then seal it with some mixed up concrete cement. And then that way I could finish gluing the rest of my cherry blossoms on my tree while it was standing up straight, so I had a better idea of how it would look. So I placed all the cement in and around just to fill in any gaps and stabilize my stick in my pot. I let the cement set fully and then I continued gluing on the cherry blossom flowers. It was much easier to work with the tree standing straight up than flat on my work surface. Once my cement had set, I came back in with this tricolor moss just to place in the bottom of my pot. You could certainly leave just the cement showing, but I like a little bit of moss for a little bit of extra greenery at the bottom of my pot. With my tree all done and complete, I placed it in my home for a gorgeous spring touch to my decor. I love how realistic this tree looks because I did use a real branch from outside, and I think it just adds that perfect pop of pink to my home for springtime. You can replicate this DIY with any kind of florals or blooms or leaves that you like.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to put 3 cups of powdered plaster of Paris mix in my pot. 3. So there we go. That's the proper measurement, and I'm going to stir this until it gets nice and thin. And now I'm going to take my PVC and put it right down in the middle. So I'm going to be using a level, and I don't need to do anything else now but let this sit and harden. We have a styrofoam ball. I'm going to just kind of press this into it, not too much or my other end will get flat. but that will give me a guide, and I'm going to cut this right in here, like so. So now that I know that this will fit in here like this, what I'm going to do is take low temp hot glue, and I'm going to fill the hole with a whole bunch of low temp hot glue, and I'm going to put a whole bunch of low temp hot glue all over that bottom couple of inches, and then I'm just going to stick it right down in there because I don't want this to come off. And then I'm going to do the same thing right around the top of here. Okay, our glue is all cool, and I'm just going to build this like a bouquet. I can, all the way up like that, and then I can just bend them out. But I'm going to do the same thing with the oranges. I'm going to start by wrapping this around really tightly. So I've wound it all the way down, wrapping all my stems, and then I brought the wire back up. And then I have another wire that I'm going to put down along the side, tighten those together like so, and it will be secure. And set this down in here. So you can see, I knew that these are going to be a little bit long. So I'm going to cut these off. Now I want to start to bend some of the greenery. I'm going to be using my steel pick machine, and that's going to allow me to just stick those right into the styrofoam. And I'm going to put some down in the bottom too. I finished all of the trimming and made it nice and round. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take reindeer moss and S-pins, and I'm just going to stick them through the moss and right up into the styrofoam. Okay, it's time to go to work covering our trunk. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a generous amount of hot glue to the inside of it, and I'm just going to put it right there on my mechanics and cover it up. I'm just going to fill the bottom of this with more reindeer moss. There we go. Isn't that lovely? And here is my orange topiary, and I love how it picks up the colors in the picture. Isn't that beautiful? So I hope this inspires you to make a topiary yourself, and I look forward to seeing you the next time right here on Home Talk.